trouble.
Hello, everybody. I am Brandon Jones. I am joined by Michael Huber. Thank you for being with me, Huber.
Yo.
Huber,
Yo.
you called Watch Dogs Legion one of your most disappointing games of 2020, which is why I want to have you on, because much like the Avengers, much like Red Dead 2's long campaign, there's a lot of things that I know you enjoy but still had a lot of issues with that I just had a blast with. I got to play Watch Dogs online. So based on your experience with Legion, I want to get your take on where your expectations are at with online and what your issues were with Legion, some of the bigger ones.
Yeah, my main issues with Legion were just the story and the recruiting the people, you know? It just didn't feel satisfying. Like, I like that idea in theory, I like the concept, but it just didn't come together for me. They all felt too similar with their capabilities. And the story as well, just because I loved the story in 2 so much, and I even like the story in 1 a lot as well, just this tale of revenge. But for online, it's kind of been a while now, Jones, so it's like it's weird to step back into Legion, especially because I didn't like it that much. So I guess I'd want to see it maybe flesh out the narrative more, like maybe side campaign story missions or something, which I don't think we're gonna get.
I wonder if we will get updates like that. But yeah, like when it comes to something like The Division, that's like part and parcel. Like you get the story with your big combat.
Exactly what I was thinking. Exactly.
This is just a lot of hacking things and shooting dudes. You know, it's a very focused like action experience. What I got to do, I got to play this game for like 2 or 3 hours. Apologies to anyone watching and not listening to this. My footage was borked, and so I got to use B-roll. So I don't specifically have my experience, and it was rough as such. I didn't really take good notes because I was like, oh, I'll just watch the footage later. And so I do remember some of the big things, but specifically we really attacked the missions. So you can just kind of goof off in this game. You know, in the footage that we have, I didn't do any of this. You see guys like graffitiing the walls, they're racing cars, they're playing darts, they're dribbling footballs, like they're having a grand old time, like doing goofy stuff. And I think a lot of that stuff is still in GTA Online, but you like primarily see people shooting each other and driving vehicles and stuff. For the most part, in terms of just like functionality, like the stuff that you can do, obviously getting new recruits and stuff like that, it's exactly how it is in Watchdog. You're just now allowed to bring 3 people on missions with you. That's kind of like the main pitch. So if you really, really liked it and you're just like, I would love to do this co-op with a buddy, like you're set, it ran really well. Yeah, there were like hiccups and like some latency issues here or there. Like I totally expect that stuff to get ironed out. But generally, like meeting up with them and all of us getting XP and being able to start new missions, and specifically when we got into the string of missions, we were just able to do like mission. Like we just rolled right into the next thing. It totally worked.
Were they the campaign missions, Joan? It's just
no,
co-op?
It's a totally new thing.
Cool.
So what they sell you on at the beginning kind of falls flat a bit, because they're like, this is right after the campaign. Thankfully, they don't really spoil anything for the campaign, so you can just bring friends in and they can still play the campaign and like
that
have
simple
fun.
Premise gets me immediately a little more intrigued, Jones. Just simple.
It's a lot of new stuff, and they're like, you know, we can't manage everybody now because so many people want to join DedSec. We have to splinter DedSec off, and so you have like fast travel points that you can adopt, like regions. You're like, we're from this district, and we're going to defend it, and so it's like you get points for the district. You obviously get points for yourself to level up. My issue was they're like, now let's go to HQ. I'm like, cool. You go to HQ, and it's the HQ from the game, and I'm like,
oh my god.
Already been here, and I didn't even ask because I'm like, I don't think they're gonna adopt this, but it's just like I need my own place. I need like an apartment or something, and there's like not that much focus on like your spot. It's really about like your abilities, and specifically what we did didn't let me goof off that much because they're like, you can finish the campaign. Not a lot of people have, and so me and the 3 guys I was with were like, well, we have to finish like the story missions that we can do, and that ended with a big boss fight that they did give me B-roll of. That I remember from the game. They just cranked up the difficulty to a stupid degree because they're like, you'll play it with 3 other people. So we couldn't finish that, but we did do a ton of missions. And I generally did have fun. I just realizing that I could get you, because initially you were way more into on Legion than other people, because you finished the campaign of Legion. Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, of course.
So you have just a lot more experience. You're the second in command Legion guy. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is, no matter what they do, no matter the lifeline of Watch Dogs Online. But it is free. We do have it. Like we can, whether you got the old version or the new version, like you can play that version and jump online. And like I said, it worked. Like it's pretty straightforward. It's just like you're not playing Watch Dogs with friends.
I remember I really liked kind of the multiplayer parts in the original game. I didn't mess around with them too much in 2, but I loved the idea of someone coming into your game and trying to hack you, and then like, where is this person hacking me, and like trying to find them. That stuff's so fun.
There's not a lot of that going on here. Again, there's like the goofy stuff you can do, and then you can co-op with the guys. There's a versus mode, which I'll jump to really quickly because it's only worth giving lip service to, where you're the drones and you're basically the spider guys, spider bots. Spider bot arena, where you're getting little Mario Kart power ups. Yeah. And you're hopping around and like shooting at dudes. It's like 3 matches deep, and then you're like, okay,
I'm good.
Like, you're done. I could see maybe like unlocking a skin or something and being like, all right, I'll jump back in and like play. And it's something you can get good at. You could tell the Mario Kart dudes, the Power Stone players, because they immediately could start to tell. He could see the ones and zeros of like where the power ups would be. Yeah. So there's some guy who found that sniper bonus and like it was over, and we're like, okay, all right. And like the Ubisoft guy would come out like, do you want to do one more match? I'm like, sure. I'm just gonna get dominated by this guy because he knows the map now, and so it's like you play this with Damiani 2 matches later. It's like, okay,
I'm good.
That was fun. But you talk about that PvP nature of it, and I'm sure some of that will be in it. Like they were like, you could just walk around the map and goof off, but we were so focused on doing missions. Cool. And that also affected who I picked up, because I grabbed a couple people. I wanted to grab somebody with a fun car, but I'm like, I gotta find a Albion dude so we can sneak onto Albion bases so I can get a machine gun. It's like, if we're gonna be doing crazy missions, like I want a gigantic gun. And so they gave us like 10-15 minutes to goof off before the guy came on Discord and took us through everything. And I was like, that's all I focused on doing. So for that first match, they were like, I got grandma. And I was like, yeah. And it was surprise, it was an Albion base. And so I was like, okay, I will walk in and take care of this. And what I appreciate, Huber, is that the multiplayer missions that we did were hard. Like we had to focus. Like you could tell other dudes, there was one time where we had to split and 2 of us took on one mission and 2 of us took on the other. And if one of us failed, like it's over. Like you, and I don't even know what, I was gonna ask you about that. I don't even know what you're doing. Like you're across town, so I can't help you at all. Or like we would both succeed and then get in a car and you can't damage the car and then you'll be driving. And it's like, oh, mission's over. And I'm like, what happened? Oh, our other teammates just crashed into a bus.
That's important because I could imagine like the campaign, Jones, there was a point when I got so strong, taking your time was a waste of time. It was like, let me just run in and clear this and it's done. Yeah. So I can imagine adding more people on your team and just like people not communicating well, just like, okay, we're gonna go in and storm this. Yeah. So I'm glad that you're saying it's difficult and they split you.
It's funny. I could see GTA players bouncing off because they're not willing to sink down and get a little more tactical. It'd be interesting for Division players to come to this and be like, oh, this is a little more loosey-goosey. Like I can, because vehicles aren't like a huge, like are not a part of Division. Yeah, you can, hack dudes and you have like drones and stuff. But like with this, we were driving a lot. We were crashing into stuff a lot. It's fun to be the person. Ultimately, co-op I think is great. It's cool to have 4, but if you really can just have even one more, I bet they could be really fun. Like you and a buddy, just helping each other out, splitting up, taking care of stuff. Because if you're not stupid, if you know how to do it, and so concerning the skill tree, when stuff levels up, in the first game, you would get points for succeeding, finishing missions. And then a lot of times you had to do really complex quests to get people on your team. Everything is currency based in this. So you have the points where you level up. And like, I would save that and really lump it in. I don't know if your playthrough differed, but I think like the most valuable thing you can get is like this turret is either fighting with us or dead. It's like get those turrets out of the way. Totally. Because once you have these dudes chasing you, so it's fun to be in a car during a chase and just tagging drones as they're flying by and they'll smash into walls and stuff.
That's fun.
So they can clear, or like moving cars in front of us so that the person driving can get through it. But
two questions. One, how do you recruit people in multiplayer?
Currency. So that's happens. It's like harder people cost more, but the more you do with your team, and you can swap characters out anytime. So they really.
So if you're on a mission, Jones, can you then just like go to your
I think so. You just respawn. So you would just go back to your whatever location you were at. Cool. So if because we definitely have you can't do it in a base. So like once you're
okay,
in the building and
sense.
firing and stuff, you can't do it like during the mission. But if you're like, oh, on the way to a mission, like once we get there, then like get out of the car, swap to somebody else, you'll respawn there, and then rush in.
And then
I think when you die, you can swap out too.
Nice. Is it a host's world, or does everyone, like you were saying, everyone shares their character progress?
I think one person has to invite, and then everyone gets progress, and you also level up. Yeah, but I think cool. And I don't know how necessarily mission bonuses take care. Again, like the goofing offingness, like we didn't do any of that. We specifically did missions. Yeah. So again, Huber, these missions were hard. One in particular, we were like, do we want to bail and just like do some racing? Because it's not like we don't know what we're doing or we can't do it. It's just like, damn, we really gotta buckle up and stop goofing off and finish this thing. So what we had to do was we were in an area where drones had gone psycho. I imagine there's a lot of that in Watch Dogs Online. And so these just crazy new drones that are invulnerable. You shoot at them, you cannot do any damage. They are Terminators. And so you just have to do the mission and not piss these things off. And so it's interesting. I see the B-roll and they're like really getting in there and really taking these drones out. And we were like, nope. We just got on a flying drone, hovered right over this thing we had to examine, and then basically anytime they left the area, we just literally went straight down, waited until that meter went from like 20 to 45%. One of them would turn in the corner, come back to us, and we would take off and then like hang out up in the sky. And one person would be controlling this, and the rest of you would just be sitting on the. So there's like a little bit of trust involved. You know, if you have that one guy in your guild team that always goofs off, it's like it's gonna take an hour to finish this mission. So even just really paying attention, it took us like 45 minutes to finish that thing. It took us like 6 or 7 attempts. But of course, when we're done, we're just like,
is so OP.
But then again, there were some where it was just like run through, shoot these dudes. That was like the toughest one. But at the end, we fought this boss that's in the campaign. It's just like a center drone that can turn 360, and then ads show up all the time. And so one of us had to hack in and then fly a little mouse drone through a place. But the moment you even take one bullet, you get pulled out. And so like you have to have one guy with you that's covering you because your character model's just staying there as you're hacking this other thing.
That's fun, Jones. I like the idea of all this teamwork you're saying, because I feel like that was missing from the campaign of the main game. I never felt like I needed to use my team's abilities in tandem together. It was always like, I'm going to bring this person in and win.
But those people who aren't good teammates in Fortnite will just bounce off this because they'll be like, I just don't care. And goofing off in the world is like almost identical to goofing off in the game. And so whereas like, you know, I imagine if you polled all of the online players and it's like, why don't you just play like the game? And they're like, because I don't get to screw with other people. And that's like the best. So I'm surprised this didn't lean into it that hard. Again, I might not have gotten the chance to do it because we were just so gung-ho in the missions because I wanted to see how different they were as well. Yeah. And the thing that's nice is when you do focus and all of the trickery you can do in that game, all the way you can puppet that world, it's really fun when you are helping out your friends. And it's really nice to when you really are focused, like when you're all driving in the same car and you're all able to hack stuff around you. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. I like the idea of someone driving like you were saying, and then you're just like trying to drone all the drones. It's fun.
Because it's one thing if you like hack a drone and you're flying around in the game. It's another thing for like if you were doing something and then literally this little thing just buzzes right next to you. It's like, that's me. But then again, like you can get in a helicopter in GTA and just take off. You can get like yachts now. So it's tough and not really an answer I would expect to get from them, honestly. So I didn't really ask it. But like, how well do you think this game's going to do? Predictions. What are your expectations? Not for if you'll enjoy Watch Dogs Online, but for the success of Watch Dogs Online. UB Games made a lot of money in 2020.
Yeah. I think it'll be bigger than I'm anticipating, actually, but not that big. Watch Dogs has a bunch of fans. Like you were saying, it's free if you already own the game.
Right.
I'm curious enough to give it a spin. It depends on how much they market it as, like, the build-up to the next Watch Dogs. Because, like, that's kind of what they do in Division 2. And it's, like, you're not really getting a lot of plot details, but it's, like, just enough to be like, well, I kind of want to be there to feel that excitement and to be on that ride towards the sequel because I am invested in this series. But
what I think is nice compared to like a Destiny or something trying trying to think. Or Division 2 is like, if you're playing Division 2 and you're really into it and you got that one friend, you're like, I wonder if I can, or like Avengers, you're like, I wonder if I can get him into it. Like Final Fantasy 14. It's like a big deal for me to like, okay, I got to understand the payment structure, and then I got to go in and understand the menu, and then I got to play a bunch of stuff that you might not want to replay, like to get through this. At least with people who haven't played Watch Dogs Legion, they're like, oh yeah, I played like Watch Dogs 2, didn't play 1, is Legion fun? And you're like, if you get it, at least you have the game. You can just jump in and then like I'll do stuff in online. You play the game, you understand the skill tree, you understand the abilities, you know the map, and then you jump into Legion. It's just this. It's new missions with me, and we just go back to the same base, and you get to pick like a whole new crew. I think it's just the limit's still like 30, but again, it's like a currency thing whether you can like bring new people on, which I could have done more of, but just didn't stop to do because I really wanted to get a cop. But I just didn't, the game does an interesting way of like restricting you from where those types of people show up. And so it's like you really have to pay attention when you like get into an area and see one. It's like, get it while you can. Yeah. But we just didn't want to waste time because we wanted to go through. So made it to the boss. It was right at the end of our scheduled time. And then we're like, nice. I'll let this boss live for now. But I could see it, Huber, I could see us sometime in 2021 doing a night. Maybe in the group stream where you and I just, just co-op up and get some, riot shotguns and disable some guys.
Yeah, I love when they add free additions to any game, just giving me a reason to go back in.
Yeah.
For quote unquote free. Nothing to lose other than a little bit of time. If it's terrible, I've already bought the game, so absolutely, Jones.
So this was a bit ago that I played it. They've done a couple play tests. They're going to launch this at the beginning of March. I think it's like super painless. There's nothing, there's a little bit that went up from the general experience. If I was to go back, because there's still stuff I didn't do in Legion, I would, have no plans to go back, whereas I will go back to Legion at some time, I believe this year, and play this. It's just a question of, how well do they want it to do? How well will it do? How many people will be watching this on Twitch? Nice to have these questions to bounce off of you, my friend, Michael Huber.
Thanks, Jones.
Now go back to play your other games. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Intruders detected. Secondary weapon systems operational. Lethal force authorized.